All right, so welcome to the video. Now, if you're trying to get out of your timeshare, regardless of how much you owe, this will be most likely one of the most valuable videos that you've watched in a long time. Because what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the two methods used to get out of your timeshare and the one of those methods that actually works far, far better. Now, again, I'm not sure how much you owe on your timeshare, whether you owe money, whether you don't owe money. That's really beside the point. What we're going to do in this video, hopefully, is just give you clarity on what to do because, as you know, trying to get out of your timeshare can be one big pain in the ass. Yes, you can contact, and in fact, the first place you should start, if you want to get out, the first place you should start is you should contact your timeshare company. Okay. But more so than not, I realize there's a lot of so-called quote experts who are saying, well, contact your timeshare company and they make it sound easy to get out if you do that. But as many people find out, it can be really difficult. And generally speaking, that doesn't really get anybody anywhere. Yes, you have stories, but the only stories you really hear that working for are the ones that actually worked. You don't hear about the over 90% of the time that contacting your timeshare company, whoever you might be owning with, actually will get you out. Typically, it doesn't. Typically, they won't get you out, or they'll try to charge you a listing fee or something else to get out. Okay, so but in any event, try that first. If and when that doesn't work for you, then generally what people do is they will come and they will try to sell their timeshare. Okay. And if you're watching this on YouTube right now, bear with the audio. The audio might be a little bit shaky. Perhaps I am shooting this on my iPad on a screen capture. Okay. And for those who don't know, who haven't watched any of these videos, my name is Jason from freefromvacationfees.com. I almost said freefromtimesharefees.com, but actually we're at freefromvacationfees.com. I have timeshare on the brain at the moment. So the second thing that people try to do is they try to sell their timeshare. Okay. And this is what I want to chat about real briefly right now. Okay. So typically what people do, and let me get out of the bold here, what people do is when they're trying to sell, they're trying to recoup, okay, some of that initial investment. And they're also trying to recoup all of those maintenance fees they've been charged, or at least some of those maintenance fees over the years. So maintenance fees. Okay. So really it's a combination of that. But for those who try to sell, again, less than 1% of timeshares resell. In fact, let's click out of this screen here and let's go over to Google. I'm going to show you something pretty interesting. And again, this could be on any search engine. It could be Google or maybe use Bing. So some of you using Google, some of you will go and you'll like to use Bing, which looks like this. We could do it on any number of these. We could do it on. Let's just type it in here on Bing. And so if you're trying to sell, you're going to typically come and you're going to type in something along the lines of sell my timeshare, just looking for information on how to do it. Okay. And you're going to see a lot of information. I'm not going to stop and pay any real attention here, but you're going to see a lot of information on how to do it. Endless amounts of pages. But what you're not going to see, okay, if you do this, is you are not going to see probably the number one piece of pertinent information when it comes to selling your timeshare. Okay? And that is eBay. As of the date of this post, eBay is the number one listing site of timeshares anywhere. And there are thousands upon thousands of timeshares for sale. And we won't go through all of them, but I want to point out one piece of information. Not only are there thousands upon thousands of timeshares for sale, okay, but as you see, many people are simply trying to initiate bids at just $1. There's one for $1.25. There's for $1, and I'm not going to go through them. in a sense, people are trying to give away their timeshares. And we're talking nice properties. Let's go and take a look. Okay, so, here's one for $100. You know, we can click in here. We can look at these properties. We can see the photos. And as you know, this is an incredibly important piece of information if you're trying to get out of your timeshare. We can look through photos of all these. Okay, a lot of these are on the beach, beautiful settings. And that piece of information is basically when you own a timeshare, all you really own is a slot of open air. Okay, which you really, in a sense, own. Okay, the physical thing you actually own is a yearly payment. Okay, that allows you to vacation in your spot. And those typically yearly maintenance fees, they're called, are anywhere from $800 to $1,200 on average. They can be more, but that average is right in that range typically. Okay, and it forces you to vacation at your spot unless you've got timeshares who use point systems and things like that. Okay, so long story short, people don't want to take that over. And the reason they don't want to take over that maintenance fee, again, 20 years ago, timeshares used to be great. 20, 30 years ago, for the simple fact that it did allow the family to go on vacation for relatively cheap. Okay, and it was a good investment to do that. But nowadays, there are websites such as Expedia. Again, it's all about the internet. Okay, it has made vacationing far, far cheaper because there's a lot of competition for vacation. So I can come to Expedia and book an incredibly cheap vacation. And we won't sit here and go through it, but it's just one website. Other websites are Kayak, and there's Travelocity, and there's a lot of other ones. And that has made traveling incredibly cheap, with the added benefit is you are not sucked into a maintenance fee that you cannot get out of, which is what you're trying to get out of now. Okay, so let's go back over here to the notes that we were just on. So that is selling. Okay, and you're typically trying to recoup that initial investment and those maintenance fees. But what we just explained as we went through eBay and things like that is that it is next to impossible to sell your timeshare. And if you've tried, then you know. Actually, there's a far, far better method to get out of your timeshare, which we'll talk about here in 1 second. But the reason it's impossible is that there are so many listed timeshares, and that is why less than 1%, okay, actually are able to resell. And actually those numbers are becoming more and more difficult here post 2019 as we go into 2020. It's becoming harder and harder to do that. Again, because nobody wants maintenance fees. People can go to websites such as Expedia and they can travel very cheaply. So I tell you that piece of information. The reason that's so valuable if you're trying to get out of your timeshare is because it's going to prevent you from getting scammed. And the number one way it's going to do this is by not setting you up to pay money to, you do not want to pay money to list your timeshare. Let me write that down, in fact. You don't want to pay money to list. Okay, at least not if you're smart. The reason is because if somebody comes to you and offers you to sell your timeshare and they want to charge you $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000 to list it, to sell it, you're going to know that, hey, that most likely is not going to resell. Okay, so where does this leave you then? Okay, so those are your two options we just went through. Generally speaking, you can contact your timeshare company. A lot of other people try to sell their timeshares once they contact their timeshare company and figure out that that doesn't work. But there is another option, okay? And that option is what is known as a simple timeshare transfer, okay? It's just a simple timeshare transfer. Now, the nuts and bolts of it, a lot of that basic components are similar to what you get with selling. All you're trying to do when you sell is to transfer ownership. Well, with a timeshare transfer, you are really transferring your ownership off of that timeshare. And that's all you really want to do. Again, when you do that, you get out of your fees. Okay. Now, there are typically what people do, and let me back up one step here. Typically, what people do here is they frown upon a transfer because typically there's an upfront fee. But here's the thing, okay? That if you use a reputable transfer company, typically they will guarantee their service. All right, and bear with the spelling here. Autocorrect should get it. They're going to guarantee their service. You should not use a transfer company unless they do so. That means that when you pay that upfront fee, okay, which in my experience typically always ends up being far, far less than what you are paying in your maintenance fees. Okay, if you pay that upfront fee, again, usually far, far less than what you're currently paying in maintenance fees, it means you get out. Okay, it means your burden is done. Now, the reason more people don't do this is because, yes, there are a lot of scams out there with transfer companies. And yes, also, there's a lot of misinformation on timeshares and specifically getting out of timeshares and canceling contracts. A lot of people are trying to take other people's money and make this more complicated than it really is. Okay, now, so where should you go from there? Number one, you should do your research. This video is not intended as legal advice in any way, and you should do your research and weigh your options. Should you choose that you would like more information on timeshare transferring, it's what we do here at Free From vacationfees.com. Okay, and so you can simply visit freefromvacationfees.com and find more information, or you can also contact us simply by filling out the form on our pages. Again, it's right there. You cannot miss it. Now, if you're watching this on the website, that form is directly below our video on that homepage. But in any event, that's how you can contact us and get more information. No, we are not high-pressure salespeople. Yes, we are great listeners, and we answer any questions you have about it. And again, we deal in timeshare transfer. And long story short, it almost always ends up being a much better solution to getting out of your timeshare, and it's typically ends up being far, far cheaper in the long run because you're out. You just get out with a small upfront fee. Now, if you like this video, click the like button below. Again, my name is Jason, and we'll have some more videos here in the future. But click the like button below. All that's going to do is basically help boost this video up to the top of websites such as YouTube, so more people can watch it and hopefully get helped. But until next time, have yourself a great, great day.